Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, guys, to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited to have you all here, guys. Um, so yes, Miss Fierce here. Welcome to the Fierce Trade House. If this is your first time on my YouTube, kindly please like and subscribe. And yeah, by all means, just smash that notification bell. So guys, today's recording is very simple. I'll try and keep it short and sweet. It's just a conversation about your trading psychology and how it can take you out of the market or take you into the market. Now I'm using the case study of gold right now, and specifically trading gold on NFP like today. So yes, it's Friday. You can see the time here, 6:21 p.m. NFP just finished a couple of hours ago. Around 3:30 we had the news come out, and it was all positive for the dollar, so there's a lot of activity. But that being said, let me just back this up a bit. No, actually, this is okay. What I want to do is show you. Yeah, so this is all in hindsight, but I'm hoping you guys can learn something from what I'm going to explain today. Now, if you haven't watched my previous video on the 5 things that I do, or the 5 my algorithm in terms of my rules of trading, please just go to a previous video before you even watch this video, because it will explain to you a couple of things that I'm going to be mentioning in this video. So just pause, go watch that video, and then come back here. Now so what I usually do, you guys know, I look at the higher time frame, I mark up my charts with things that I think are important, and then I move on. So if I am to go to like the weekly time frame here, okay, just so if you're brand new, you may understand what all these things are. So overall bias for gold has been bullish, okay, for a very long time, has been very bullish, and then it started pushing down. Now we can't really say that this trend is bearish, okay, maybe on the lower time frame it's bearish, but on the higher time frame, like the weekly and the daily, gold is actually still bullish, but then there was a retracement. So what you're seeing here is actually a retracement, okay. The only time I'll be looking at gold as a bearish, in a bearish trend, is if it breaks structure below here on the, let's say, the 1682 levels. Okay, that's pretty far from where we are right now. If it does break here, then we can know that gold is now actually going into a downtrend. Okay, but right now we are still bullish on gold on the higher time frame. So I'm looking at the weekly, it's looking bullish. If I even zoom in, here, I'll just remove these markings to make life easy for everybody. Okay, so if I zoom in here, I won't remove everything because I don't want to forget a couple of things. So I had already marked out my charts, okay. So I know the trend on the weekly is bullish, okay. In as much as we're in a retracement, we are kind of, and it's very clear this is a weekly time frame, so the candlesticks are going down, and then here we are actually rallying to the upside amidst the retest. So like this week here, we retested previous lows, and we pushed up. Then again last week we retested, and then this week we've actually been relatively bullish. So I then looked at what where my highs are, or my point of interest are. Some people will talk about support and resistance. For me, I'm just like looking for liquidity. Where are the liquidity zones? And I see like they're up here. Okay, so when I saw this candlestick formation here, which is a bullish engulfing, I then was like, you know what, gold is actually going up. Previous weeks it had retested this zone, and hence there was some rejection, but now there's rejection on the downside this week, and it's been on a rally to the upside. Then when I went to the daily, I'm seeing the same thing. So what I'm doing, guys, I'm just confirming daily is still looking bullish as well. And as you can see, I've marked out my chart as well. Okay, I've marked out my chart, and we can see this price action. The candlesticks is telling us a very brilliant story that this trend is up. Okay, 8-hour, same drill. Okay, now the thing about the 8-hour is actually the 8-hour candle is bearish. Okay, so I know a couple of people would be a bit confused about this, but if you look at it in terms of the story you want to tell yourself, gold is actually pushing up, and now it's in a range before it continues to the upside. So when I say in a range, it's pushed up, and then it's now doing something like this before it breaks up to the outside. Okay, so that's basically it. Now So I'm still bullish in as much as this candle is bearish. Okay. Now remember, it's NFP Friday, so you don't want to jump into the market prematurely. Okay. You want to wait. So this morning I didn't even bother to enter the market in any case. I usually don't trade on Fridays, guys, at all. But today, because like I said, we were talking to a friend of trader friend of mine who's based overseas, and we were just chatting and saying, and he trades on Fridays, and yeah, it was like, okay, where is gold going? So I got in on the conversation with a couple of other guys, and before you know it, here we are looking at a chart. So yeah, so I had marked out my liquidity zones as well, my weekly liquidity zones, my 4-hour liquidity zones, which I got on the 4-hour chart. And then, I was looking at my highs and lows, and I could see that, okay, we are rejecting. We look like we are pushing down. But let me look at the 4-hour, okay, just to be sure. I can look at the 4-hour. So the 4-hour is even much more clearer. So telling me a nicer story. So we're seeing we pushed up and then we kind of pushed lower. So we could literally take this up and then take this down. And then now this is where we're at. Okay. Just in case you're wondering what I mean by, isn't this a range? Yes, it looks like a range, but we kind of broke structure here and pushed down. Now, okay, bearing in mind there's this rejection, I'm like, okay, gold is definitely pushing up. And when this is an area that I marked that is an area of sensitivity. So again, this is in hindsight, but I just want you guys to understand the flow of my thought process when I'm looking at these charts. If I was to look at the 1 hour, which I don't really necessarily have to right now, because I already know I'm looking for buys, and my entries, I'm going to put them on the 5-minute. So this is where we are at, right? This is currently where we are just before NFP. This is at 2 p.m. Kenyan time. NFP Kenyan time is at 3:30 p.m. So an hour and a half away now. But let's look at the price action before, okay? We can see this clearly. Price, came, formed a low here, pushed up, retested a key zone here, then pushed up again, retested the same zone and pushed up. Now this rally here, okay, remember we were bullish now on the higher time frame. So we're looking for buys. However, in my mind, just before NFP this afternoon, I was looking at the chart and I was thinking, no, gold can't just go up. There's a lot of imbalance has been created by this rally up that happened yesterday, okay, for the yesterday in the morning, London session. So I was a bit uncomfortable about considering gold just buying without coming to try and correct this imbalance. Okay. Now, but then as we can see, so yesterday, the whole of yesterday, we were very bullish. So towards the end of the week, some people anticipate that maybe, we're going to drop and everything. And then we kind of consolidated. So let me go on a lower time frame so that you can see what I mean. And I'm hoping this is making sense. If it's not, don't worry, guys. It will eventually, if you just watch this again. Now, so from the rally down, we can see gold pushed up. So this is what you are seeing on the lower candle, on the lower time frame on the 1 hour as consecutive candles. But when you look at it on the 5-minute, it looks slightly different. You can see the mini retest in between. And then finally, gold just stopped up here. Now, I remember last night, yesterday actually, New York session, I took a trade. I actually called a trade around here, but then on my own, I looked at an earlier entry, and later on when I was just looking at the chart, and this is so what informed my decision was price pushed up and then pushed below and then pushed up again, and then kind of is forming what retail traders will call as a resistance, and then it rejected and started pushing lower. Now, the interesting thing about it is that usually when you see a really huge rally up, you'll get to see that, the volatility begins to taper out. So you can see the volatility thereafter was really low, and gold was just ranging. Now, this is a very annoying time to be in a gold trade, especially, if you have, huge positions and everything, because you just want to be in and out of the market. So rally up, and then push down. Now, this for me was actually when I saw this break of structure here. So let me highlight it here. And guys, as much as I'm saying I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible, it looks like I might be here a while. But there was a break of structure here. Okay. And I was just looking and saying, okay, what caused this break of structure? I'm seeing this candle here, right? Okay, so I was like, this is a very interesting level of structure, and possibly price is gonna retest this level at some point in the future. And when you look at it, price, has it yet retested that level? Sorry guys, there's some music, natural music in the background. Yeah, so you can see price came back and retested this level again. So for me, I saw a break of structure here, price shifted lower. Okay, now when this shift happened, for me to confirm a real break of structure and now a beginning of a downtrend, I was waiting for gold to drop. I actually entered up around here. Okay, I entered here. Let me just show you. I entered here. So sorry, I'm trying to show you guys which candlestick was my entry. So when I saw this break of structure here, literally I got in at the retest of this at the break of structure here. Okay, so this is where I got in, and then I put my stop loss above the previous high there. It was around here, and then was expecting that it would actually come back here and then bounce off and continue on its way up. Now, but that this didn't happen. It only came about 45 pips, and then it began to consolidate. Now, this consolidation zone here lasted quite some. Let me just, this consolidation zone was about 4 hours. So for me, at some point here, around this was around 8:30, I got out of the trade. I was like, I'm not doing this thing. I've bagged my couple of pips. That was about what, 35 pips. I'm out. Okay, let gold do whatever it wants to do. And it's good it did, because I went to bed and I later realized gold had actually gone back to entry, which I wouldn't have wanted to get caught in. Okay, so there was a range. So after this increased volatility, there was this reduced low volatility that happened, right? Now, come to today. Okay, we now see gold is beginning to, make this move here. And the question was, is gold going to break out and go to the upside? Is it really going to break out and go to the upside? Now, remember my argument before, I was like, on the 1 hour, I was looking at an imbalance in the market downside. When I come to the 5 minutes, I see a nice level of structure here that I'm very interested in. So my take is I want to price to hit this zone. And if it breaks, in case there's momentum to clear some imbalance, it may go all the way down to take out the previous day's low. That was my initial bias, right? Yeah, guys. So, but this is NFP Friday, so I'm not going to jump into a trade. And this is where patience comes in. So you can imagine, I was just observing the market, the way it was behaving all since, London session. And then, as we are bantering with my friends, fellow traders, I was just looking, we were just exchanging ideas. And then guess what happened here? Gold began to taper off. Now, if you had been brave, you'd have been like, okay, this is interesting, but there was no reason for me at this level to consider getting into a gold trade. Nothing here is telling me really to get into a gold trade. This price action here, or in my opinion personally, didn't tell me anything to get into a trade. Okay, everything would be a bit of a risky trade. Okay, actually, if it was an entry, if you're an aggressive trader, you probably would have wanted to get in at this break of structure here. Okay, but I wasn't sure gold was really going to go down. And as a rule, guys, if you're going to buy, remember we are looking for buys. you want to buy low. So if you start trying to buy up here, okay, you can get caught up. And if you start selling here and we are supposed to be buying, then again, you can get caught out. And after this rally here, you have to be careful how you buy. You'd rather buy at these lower points than buying up here. Okay, so that's just me. Okay, some people will be like, okay, I don't mind holding the trade. Now, so there's a break of structure, and then price kind of retested that structure and then dropped. Okay, and then we broke another level of structure down here. Okay, and then we see this beginning to happen. Now, when I started seeing these wicks, I was like, okay, this is interesting. Gold is beginning to create liquidity, okay? Some sell side liquidity here. And as it makes these wicks here, it's also beginning to form some interesting buy side liquidity. So initially I was like, okay, is gold really going to buy? So I started thinking, okay, maybe we are selling. You're seeing this bearish engulfing, you're seeing rejection candles. But then I told myself, no, it's not at NFP. Let me wait. So let's play it out and see what happens. So at this time here, we see gold now do what? Break structure again. So let me put this here. And now I'm really like, okay. Now for me, if I had seen this, if I'd remembered this level, I actually forgot about this point of structure. But if I remembered it, I would have actually put a buy trade here to the upside. But I totally forgot about it and only saw it after the move had happened. But now it's pushing lower. Okay, it's pushing lower. It has broken structure. So what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Do you jump in to sell? Not necessarily. So this is what is happening. So imagine if you had jumped in, you would be caught up in this drawdown. Okay. So we now see some rejection, and then we see some more price action. Now this is where now buyers get trapped. A lot of people see this kind of candle formation and begin to think, oh yeah, now gold is buying, and they want to start buying. And yes, there's liquidity here, but is it time to buy? In my opinion, it was not yet. And again, NFP, this is where they trap buyers. When you see, low volume candles, and then you suddenly see long candles with huge volume candles, then you know that there's a lot of market forces at play and you just want to watch and wait. So we waited it out. And then we continued to see, so this is now 450. So let me continue. We are seeing rejection happening. And again, we're just seeing liquidity, a lot of liquidity being formed here, right? Then we see now this is 510. So now we are waiting. We're like, okay, what's happening? But all I know is we have not yet, I'm not yet convinced for a buy, okay? Or as yet. So there we go. Then guess what happens? Price pushes lower. Okay, it's just continuing to form lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Guess what people will be doing? They'll be wanting to sell at this point in time. Okay, but you don't want to do that. Now it's 3:25. Okay, we are almost, the next candle is NFP. See what happens with the news. Okay, so that's what happened. Okay, this is the candle. The gold dropped literally from this zone about 78 pips. So it's, for people who trade NFP, you guys know what you do. I don't know. I don't trade news as it's happening. I trade news after it has happened. Okay, when all the excitement has died down. So what I want you guys to notice is, guess how perfectly, when this price rallied up and broke structure here, how perfectly it retested back at this zone. So if you had your limit order here, you would have actually at this juncture be like 33 pips in blue. Okay, so I missed this trade, but I was like, it's okay. This is still NFP time. Okay, I don't want to be in the market yet. When news is still happening, news just came out. So we see this then happened. Now, as a trader, what do you do? So guys, imagine all this time I've been patient. I've been patient, just looking at the market. And this is where your psychology comes in. Sometimes when we also stare at the charts too long, we get we want to do something, we get itchy fingers, we want to trade, sometimes trading is about sitting and staring at the chart or just doing other things as you wait for your setups to play out. It's about waiting. A lot of the time, trading is about waiting for trades to play out before you get in. Okay, so don't forget that. So this is what has happened. Okay, so for the sellers, there are some sellers I know who jumped in here, and I know that one of a trader, new trader actually mentioned it. And I was like, why are you jumping into the market when news is happening? Never do that, guys. Unless you have practiced this and backtested 100 or 1,000 times, don't do that. So now we see gold then pushes up, and then there's a rejection candle. Okay, so now you're like, okay, what's happening now? What happened here? Gold was just taking out some sell side liquidity up here, as well as buy side liquidity down here. Okay, so if you caught this trade in between here, then you're good to go, you made some money. But if you bought around here or sold around here and bought around here, you would have been caught in some initial pullbacks. Okay, and then we see this happen. So now let me just slow this down a bit. So now we are beginning to see gold begin to form. Now, guys, this is what now I caught this move and I was like, now I think I'm ready to enter. Okay, why am I ready to enter? If you watch my previous video, guys, on how to trade support and resistance, I've explained setups like the 1, 2, 3 setup. I saw this move happening. We balanced the imbalance in the market. Okay, so we pushed up, pushed down to this zone, retested, and now we are ready to push up. And then what do you see after that? Okay, we now begin to see the next consecutive candles, okay, are showing us that definitely there is some bullish pressure. Okay, now when I saw this kind of like a pin bar candle formation happening, now guess what? A lot of people will be thinking, we are seeing rejections up here, gold is now going down. No, guys, gold is not going down. Okay, and I actually did a screenshot. Okay, just as I entered the market at this zone, okay, for guys, with my TP here at 26 pips, just below the previous low here, and my TP just above the 4-hour liquidity zone that I had marked out. But I know that there are many people who got caught out and were trying to sell the market. But this is a clear price action indicator that now the buyers are in control, and we can see there's now some sell side liquidity being formed down here, and we are now. So what I was waiting for was another. So my first indication was the setup here, the 1, 2, 3 setup, and then my second confirmation was going to be, because I told myself, if gold breaks structure, okay, above these highs, and then it engulfs this previous candle, then I'm going to enter, okay, at the retest. Now see what happened. So I put my pending order here when I saw price break structure, because I wanted to be very sure. So we see, I don't know if you'll be able to do it in real time. Okay. So there we go. So guess what has happened? Okay, this happened. Now, but let me back it up a bit. Let me go on the 2 minute. Oh yes, I went on the 2 minutes. I went on the 2 minute time frame because I wanted to refine my entry. So on the 2 minute time frame, you already can see this even way better. Okay, we can see this formation here. Okay, sorry, 5 minutes. Let's see. This is the formation here. Okay, so now this is the 5 minute OB. And then there was the 2 minute. I said, let me look and see if there's any unmitigated point of interest left. So this is one of them here at this zone, at this candlestick. So now as gold, when gold pushed up, okay, when gold pushed down, then pushed up and broke structure here, it wicked down and tapped my entry right here, okay, on the 2-minute point of interest, okay. So it just wicked here. Now you could have also entered at the break of structure, but I like to enter way lower. I wanted to catch the trade a bit lower. So once I had put in my parameter, I was good to go. So it wicked, it literally wicked, okay, and you can see this. So it pushed up and then it came wicked and then started to continue to go up. So we were caught into this trade, we were called into this trade or jumped into this trade, and then this is what now began to happen. Okay, we now see gold just beginning to rally up, and then it continued and continued and continued. Can speed it up. And then what I told myself, okay, so technically right now we see gold rallied up, and it rallied up about, let me see how many pips here, about 114 pips with literally no drawdown. Okay, right now as we speak, because now we've actually hit our target. Okay, and the target was 185 pips. Okay, so this is just this second position tool just shows like you can scale in at different levels. I could have easily scaled in once structure broke here and retested as it continues, because I already know I'm buying, so I'm not looking for sells. Even if I see rejections, I am buying. Okay, so guys, I hope this explains to you how you can look at you can trade NFP. If you're like me, don't trade when the news is just happening. Trade after, so that you can observe what happens, what price action happens afterwards. And then when you see potential to your patterns or your setups, go on the lower time frame to search for points of interest that are untested, and then put your positions there and just wait for the trade to play out. So guys, if this video has been of value, kindly please like and subscribe. And yes, let's see you again, guys, next week. Actually, on Sunday during my Sunday weekly analysis, smash that notification bell so that when I post my weekly analysis, guys, before the beginning and the open of the week, you'll get my video and you'll be able to use that video to plan your own trades for the week. Thank you, guys, and have a lovely, or rather, have a lovely weekend.